Hello everybody, welcome to Bad Big Games. I'm your host Joseph, and today we're going to talk about microtransactions again and talk about them in Devil May Cry 5 and why the audience is so split over them. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, Future Joe, roll the intro. I gotta say, before this news broke, I feel like the wind was behind DMC's back for the first time, maybe even ever, because I'm not a big Devil May Cry fan. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm not going to wear, a Dante shirt so you guys believe me that I'm a fan of the series, but I'll be honest with you guys. When I saw the creative director on Xbox's stage and you just saw the excitement ooze out of his just body, just his emotions, he was able to finally get off his chest that he was working on this game, this series that he loves so much. How do you not get excited for that? Like, seeing the trailers as well, holy crap, the game looked great. And after I saw, I believe it was Gamescom's trailer, I was on board. I pre-ordered the game on Amazon. I was ready. I liked what I saw, enough so that I was going to put my money down on this game. But now, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Now, we were just excited to see the latest trailer from TGS, but people in places like GameSpot actually got their hands on the game, and people started noticing something. That there was something called red orbs that you were able to purchase with real money to unlock abilities and skills that you would later get down the road. And when confronted by GameSpot, Hideaki Itsuno, did I get it right?
Wrong.
When the creative director was asked about this, he said this about the matter. With giving people the ability to purchase red orbs, it's something we want to give people as an option, he said. If they want to save time and just want to get all the stuff at once, those people can do that. But on the other hand, I don't feel like you have to get all the moves. You should be able to play it the way you want to play it, end quote. So that's it. That's why everybody's upset. It's what some people reacted to. There was one side of the argument that says, hey, you know what? They said it's completely optional. Let's just take their word for it. Let's go. I'm excited for this game. But I'm not. After hearing that quote, we've heard it time and time again. But just out of different developers. We've heard it from Monolith when they said, hey guys, listen, Shadow of War, completely optional. We heard it from DICE when they said it about Battlefront 2. Hey guys, completely optional. Player choice, you work 40 hours, you have 2 kids. It's all about getting that experience, getting to the end, because that's what video games are all about. And it's not. Video games are about the experience, and it's how you absorb that art form. So I understand where a lot of the DMC fans are at right now, because they're torn, because so many people don't like this decision. They don't like the fact that progression may or may not be behind a paywall, but a lot of people feel like they just don't have a choice. Because when it comes to Star Wars, when it comes to Lord of the Rings, those games are huge, successful IP behind them. So those games could fail, but the next one's going to do fine. Oh, absolutely. It's going to be just fine. But when it comes to Devil May Cry, this is a game series that has a cult following. It's a small but very passionate select few gamers out there that really love this series. And it seems like Devil May Cry 5 is finally breaking out into the mainstream because people who've never played it before, myself included, I played the reboot, I know I'm awful, but I'm finally interested in this game. I want to see what it's about, and this news turns me off because I can't help but think about Battlefront 2. I can't think about those loot boxes and hey, don't worry, it's a progression system tied behind loot boxes and tied behind microtransactions, but everything's fair. And it's not. And it wasn't. Battlefront 2 suffered because of it. It suffered so much that the progression system had to be reworked and actually put out months after the game's release because people saw that it was broken as all hell. And a lot of DMC fans and a lot of defenders of these microtransactions go, no, that's a multiplayer game. You can't, it's not fair. You can't compare the two. But you definitely can. But fine, sure. How about a single player game? Can you note one that has microtransactions tied to progression? Absolutely. Let's take a look at Lord of the Rings Shadow of War. I personally played it. I personally got to the point where you had a ending to the game and then the real ending to the game that had 20 plus hours of progression. They said it's all about player choice. It's all optional. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to. You're not forced. Please, you're not forced ever. Guess what? I got to a point in the game where I fought an orc. The orc kicked my fucking face in. Then he took my sword. He's like, this is my sword now. And guess what? Broke it right in front of me. And then I had to defeat that orc again with a less powerful sword. You know what I did? I just turned my PlayStation off. And I never played that game again. Because I saw it. There was, hey, you can buy this orc. And I've even bought orcs with the free loot that you get. The paid orcs were so much easier, so much stronger that they held every foothold that I had in that game. It made the game not that fun to me. So I just stopped playing it. I saw that, hey, I can buy a sword for $5 or I can, grind for 5 hours, and it wasn't appealing to me, so I stopped playing. And to see that in Devil May Cry 5 in whatever way, shape, or form is not fair to the consumer whatsoever. And for people that are defending this, saying, well, it's only $59.99 here in the US, get over it. Games are cheaper than they've ever been. Not worldwide, that's false. And here in North America, that's not even an excuse, even if it was, because guess what? Take Battlefront, take Lord of the Rings, toss them. I don't even need those examples. Let's take a look at Capcom. Let's see if that actually holds weight. This year is one of their most successful years ever, with a title that is their most successful game ever. And it's also the fastest selling game in Capcom history. You want to know what that game's called? Monster Hunter World. When that game came out, there were no microtransactions, at least from what I saw in that game. Now, there was a season pass, and yes, there are paid DLC, but the first few weeks, people jumped in on it because it was a full game. Hours and hours worth of content grind that meant something, not because there was a carrot dangling with a stick at the end. No, people loved it, and they loved that gameplay loop, and people played it because it was a whole experience. They even dropped free DLC to get people back playing the game. That argument that DLC has to exist and that microtransactions that affect gameplay have to exist are just wrong. I would be completely fine if they said, hey, Dante, you can buy a blue jacket for Dante for $5. I'd be okay with that. Oh, Dante gets to wear a dumb, silly hat. I'd be okay with that. Oh, you get to dye Dante's hair black. It's a joke. Don't worry about it. I would be fine with it. If it's cosmetic, I honestly don't care. This whole thing that microtransactions have to be in every single game is bullshit. I think God of War even proves that's wrong. Cory Barlog made a statement that before this game was even made, he was like, no DLC ever. This is the game that I want to tell. It's a full experience. And that game was the second fastest Sony game ever. Spider-Man has DLC for sure, but the single-player experience is whole, and the game progresses with you when you're playing the story. You unlock all the abilities by just playing the game's story. It just feels great. You feel like you're Spider-Man. There's no microtransactions to make the experience faster, because it's all meant to be played. We could even take a look at games like Nier Automata, where that game single-handedly saved Platinum Games, and there were no stupid microtransactions that affected gameplay. None whatsoever. This argument, Bloodborne, Horizon, just two that came out of the top of my head. This argument doesn't need to exist. But I understand why it does. And I understand why the audience is torn, because this isn't Halo, this isn't, God of War, this isn't Spider-Man, where games can fail and then they come out, they give you, this fixed version. No, it's not a strong IP like that. It's not Star Wars. This is Devil May Cry 5, where it has a cult following that needs to hit the mainstream. It needs to make money. So I understand why the developers are doing the things that they're doing. And to be completely honest, at the end of the day, I feel so bad for them, because they're the guys that are going to get shit on. They're the guys that are going to get the death threats that people are going to yell at and crucify. It's not Capcom. And that's the thing that truly sucks at the end of the day, because we've seen, look at Telltale when they closed down. All those employees didn't even get a severance. They didn't even get their health care until the end of the week, I think. They get 7 days until it's gone. All the overtime, they don't even get a severance package. These companies don't care about their workers. The Capcom, if this game doesn't fail, do you think they're going to keep the studio around? No. And that's the thing that truly sucks, is that, yes, we need to vote with our wallet. You shouldn't be guilted into buying something, ever. You shouldn't be guilted into doing anything. And that's what I'm seeing on the internet, is that people are torn because they love these developers, they love this series, and they have to pick their wallet or this game, and it sucks. So I understand if you're going to buy this game, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Absolutely not. I understand where you're coming from. I understand if you say, Joe, listen, I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm not going to buy the microtransactions. That's great. And hey, I understand if you're going to boycott this game. Hashtag boycott solo. Thanks a lot. Now I'm not going to get my Obi-Wan movie. But nonetheless, I understand that. You need to vote with your wallet, but you also should tell Capcom how you feel, but do it in a respectable manner. I say this all the time. You can't just curse at Capcom. You can't just threaten Capcom. You need to vote with your wallet. Be respectful. Be clear, concise what you're saying and why you're saying it and who you're saying it to. So with that, I'm not buying this game, at least not on day one. I'm going to wait for the reviews. I'm going to wait to see what my friends say, and I'll make my decision after that. But with that said, and with all that out of the way, that's how I think on the matter. I want to know what you guys think of Devil May Cry 5 down below. Are you still excited for it? Are you still pumped? Let me know, because here at Bad Big Games, it's all about the conversation. There is no wrong answer. I'm not going to get here and sit on a soapbox, or is it sit? No, stand on a soapbox and tell you why this is evil and blah, blah, blah. No. I want to know, this is all about a conversation, so let's have it down below. Let's be respectable. And here at Bad Big Games, where it is about the conversation, we like to talk about all things video games. So we like to talk about news like this, rants, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever the case may be, we want to talk about video games. So if you're in for that, and we do also a podcast called The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players every Thursday. If you're cool with that, please hit like, share, subscribe, because it helps me out, grows this big, beautiful family that I call home. And so with all that said, and with all that out of the way, keep your wits about you. Oh, I got you there. I had you on suspense. And have a nice one.